Well, since we're going to have a little bit of an informal meeting today, we ask that everyone who is viewing this meeting today understand that we are a little bit of a crunch with senators since we are in finals week. Many of you may be thinking it's crazy that we plan a General Assembly meeting during finals, but I feel that it is imperative so we can do a reflection and retrospective over the past semester and looking forward to the next semester. But first, what I would like to do is make sure that everyone gets up and gets their snacks and whatnot really quickly. I welcome everyone at home and watching abroad to the meeting, of course, and then we'll go straight to business and finish up every little other housekeeping detail that we have. Probably be out of here by 12:45. Okay. All right. So with that said, we have to stick with tradition. I now call the meeting to order at 12:06, Monday, December the 13th, 2010. It's been a long week. And I will now entertain a motion to adopt this week's minutes.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Thank you. And I will now move on to the first order of business, passing it over, yielding over 20 minutes to the treasurer. Mr. Treasurer.
Okay, well, the budget committee had two requests, and the first one we're going to take care of is the Ethiopian student organization. So if we could just have Jason Rizal stand up and give a quick briefing about what this trip is going to be about and why you need the funding.
I was asked to come on behalf of the Ethiopian student organization. They're currently studying for their finals, and they asked that I come and kind of explain what the trip is about. The students are planning on taking a trip that is focused on Ethiopian International Student Organization, which really bring together students all across the world that are Ethiopian to better give them leadership skills at their local colleges. I believe it's a 3-day trip that they would take, and it would focus in on leadership, student organizations, and also how to be a better student, how to prepare yourselves as they're going through the process of receiving their education, and then also the process of applying for jobs outside once they've completed their degree. They also focus on how they can also help their community back in Ethiopia and any Ethiopians across the world. The Ethiopian students here locally have committed their time in donating funds that they've collected to an orphanage in Ethiopia. They just recently worked with another organization that was a auction and a benefit dinner to help orphanage in Ethiopia, and then also their commitment to the autism community and supporting that group of students that are in need at a lower level in the high schools and grade school. But basically the funding is for them to go on this trip, have an experience that will allow them to grow, develop, and build their leadership skills to bring back to here to JCC to be better students, and also to work hopefully on the Senate, and also to better manage their group.
Thank you. Do any of the senators have any questions?
I do. So Jason, are you the advisor for that group?
I am the advisor for the group.
Okay. Another question is, where are they going?
They're going to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
Yes.
And why, just out of curiosity, why do they need to do this in Philadelphia as opposed to doing this here?
This is last year when they were looking to take a trip, they was recommended that they get tied into someone who had a conference that was directly dealt with students, and they chose to find a conference that dealt with Ethiopian students. And this is the only one that they could find that was out there that was directly related to their student organization, and also they felt it would be a good idea for them to improve on their ability to become better leaders. Locally, they couldn't find anything, and then it was advised that if they wanted to take a trip and gain those skills, that they should find something that was surrounded around a conference and students, and that was the one that they came up with.
So essentially it's a national Ethiopian student conference that's hosted in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Okay.
Last year they were in Canada, and that was one of the reasons they didn't look into it, because it was too late, and then also the cost to go to Canada.
Okay.
But each year, this is the 11th year of the conference, and every year it's either in the United States or somewhere else outside of the United States.
Is this the first time that they're going on?
It'll be
this
the
conference?
first time they will be going.
What do they plan on taking away from that conference?
You know what's been shared with me within the group itself is their ability to grow and just organizing as a student group and developing leadership skills.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, so if you could please step outside for a second, we're gonna vote on it. Okay, so the Ethiopian Student Organization wants to go to their on an annual trip to Philadelphia. It's a leadership conference, and it's the first time that they're attending, and it's going to be held in late March. They requested funding early on because before any fundraising efforts or personal contributions put forth on their part, just because it was personal choice. And they requested a total of $7,417.30 for a trip to fund 11 people, and that's including their advisor, who was just in here, or that's $674.30 per person. 63% of that money is going towards transportation, 5% to registration fees, and 32% to hotel expenses. They're estimating the lengthy amount, we were estimating the lengthy amount that they would have to fundraise money for this trip, and after personal contributions. So we, the Budget Committee, recommend that the Student Senate fund the Ethiopian Student Organization $4,079.52 from their total request, or $370.87 per person participating in this trip. Are there any questions? All right, so we'll step right into voting.
At least 15 people. We can't vote on it, technically.
We'll take it into executive session with the permission of the treasurer, and then from there we'll discuss it. Mr. Treasurer, I have a question for you. When's the trip?
Late March.
We'll decide in an executive session with the permission of the Senate. We can do that with the permission of the Senate that we do have here on fixed majority. From here, they can decide if we can take this into executive session, and from executive session, we can make a decision from there about the process.
Could we read that section of the Constitution where can we have it, like, to make sure that it says exactly that?
Absolutely. Do you have the Constitution? Thank you. Okay, Senator, this is the clause in which I'm speaking about. The Secretary and Vice President are both here to acknowledge this. Okay. This is a exercising duty as President that I'm asking to exercise with your permission. It says that the Student Senate President is Chief Executive Officer of Johnson County Community College Senate, shall preside over all meetings of the Student Senate. It is the responsibility of the President to represent or appoint a representative to a campus-wide committee. We know that. These appointed representatives must be announced. We know that. Now here it is. The President has the right to exercise all special powers granted to him by a fixed 2/3 majority vote of the Student Senate. Now this, what we have here, out of what we have here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including the executive board would be the 2/3 fixed majority vote. If you would allow for me to exercise that vote to put it through executive session for us to decide and vote on the behalf, I would appreciate that. If not, then we can hold off and table it until next semester at the beginning of our first meeting when we return from the winter recess. Okay. Any other questions considering that? Okay, so with the 2/3 majority, fixed 2/3 majority that we have present with that fixed vote, Mr. Secretary, I'll allow you to take a vote on that. If we can see asking the Senate to grant me powers to take this to an executive session, I would appreciate that. So I'll now yield the time over to you, Mr. Vice President.
I have a question.
Yes,
If
sir.
it does get shot down just based on the executive
Yes, sir.
session,
Yes, sir.
are we able to re-bring it up in January?
Absolutely. We can table it until January, and that's the next point if it does not go through executive session. Good question. Secretary.
All right, I guess we'll take a vote, see about
Thank you. We'll, and this is now the process, what we'll do with this, Senator, and to the rest of you, we'll take this immediately to an executive session. It will be decided on today. From there, we will vote on it within ourselves. We'll email you out the results of what's happened. If there are any stipulations or causes to which you do not agree, then if we have enough say coming back to us that they don't agree with it, then what we will do from those present meeting, those members present here today, we will table it until next semester. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, perfect. So with that said, Mindy, if you could get Mr. Rozelle, and I will explain Mr. Rozelle the process of the executive session, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Didn't think about that. Mr. Rozelle, we actually came to a historic marking here in the Senate. As you see that we don't have a full quorum in the Senate today, voting members with all our senators out for final. So what I've recommended and I've asked for the Senate present here today, of that 2/3 majority, I've asked them to allow for me to entertain a power designated to me from the Constitution to entertain a 2/3 majority fixed vote. And I've asked that we take this into executive session with the executive board members present, and we go and vote on the budget request in the executive session. Now that answer, we can have the executive session today, and I'm recommending that we will have it today, and we will have that answer to you by the end of this evening.
Okay.
Also, after we notify the rest of the senators.
Okay.
Now, I will say this, if there's any, if there is a majority of the senators present here today that do not agree with what we voted on, which is possible, which is a possibility, then we will ask to table it until the first meeting after the winter recess when we return in the winter. But then again, that's just a possibility.
Okay.
I do apologize for this. I'm very sorry. We did not see this roadblock coming today, but with that, the executive session privilege is the best that I can entertain right now to try to help you and giving you an answer as soon as possible.
Okay. Okay. If I could just make note, one of the reasons why we did request that the meeting be held before school was out is because of the deadline
Yes,
on tickets. As the longer we wait, we were able to lock in some tickets, and we kind of came up against that deadline. But as the time continues to go on, we will tickets will continue to go up, and that was really the major issue of trying to if we got funding, and hopefully we will, was being able to find tickets that would be reasonable and sufficient enough to make the trip or not, because that's where the cost comes in.
Yes, sir, and that's why I recommended that it be probably best if we take it to executive session and entertain that motion today to figure out that answer for you. Because I know those tickets are going to go up right after January hits, so I want to get that taken care of as our last piece of business in the session.
Okay.
Thank you, and I'll be sure to have the treasurer have a message to you today as soon as possible, and maybe if we finish it early, we can go immediately into that executive session, and then the secretary will email the senators and notify them of our decision.
Okay. I'm leaving to go to a meeting, so I'll probably won't be back. I'll be available by after 2.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds great.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank you all
much.
for your time.
We apologize for the inconvenience once
Oh,
again.
that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Treasurer, I now yield over another 10 minutes to you.
Okay, our second request came in from the International Club, and I'm gonna give the time over to Theresia to talk about the event that they wanna hold here on campus.
Okay, the event that we're holding is the annual scholarship dinner for international students. Basically, this is the biggest event that we have that actually raises funds and scholarship money for international students here. And the event will have around 220 guests with about 40 to 50 international students helping out as volunteers. So the money that we're requesting does not at all go to the students themselves, but we would like the Senate to help us fund mostly for the food for the event, which costs the most. And what I think most of you know that we international students students were not eligible for pretty much almost all of the scholarship that is offered for excuse me, American students. So this is our only way to help fellow international students to raise money. I think annually we give these money to about the amount varies to about 15 to 20 international students, but we also use this money as a sort of emergency fund, you know, for some problems at home, and they just have their funds cut off for parents or anything. They're eligible to have this money too. Of course, we do have a committee that decides for that too, but basically this event is the only big one that we have, and it's also our way of saying thank you to have the guests come in, and we will tell them to learn more about the culture, because the international students that volunteer, they'll be assigned to serve the food, wash the dishes, they do everything in the event besides interacting with the guests. And yeah, I think.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the senators have any questions for Theresia?
Real quick, so essentially the whole thing is just the budget request is to cover the cost for the food for the event? Okay,
Mostly the food.
Right.
We do have entertainment and floor.
but the majority
Yeah,
of it.
and the majority is food.
Okay. And the other question I would ask is, do you have an issue with this also being taken to the executive session?
Yes. I don't think there's an issue, really.
Okay.
Okay. That way we can have a decision made up for you as soon as possible as well, so those two items. Okay. So with that being a vote, we'll have to entertain a motion to vote the same way as we did previously with Ethiopian Club. It is to my understanding that Theresia, Hoy, and Eric are all three members of the International Club. Is that correct? Anyone else? All right, so I'm going to ask that all three of you abstain from this vote, and the remaining members, that should give us 9, if I'm not mistaken, including executive board and myself. All right, so, yes.
I could actually get a quick question in.
Absolutely,
I was just wondering, when is your event? Just,
It's in February
okay,
11th.
that was
Do
my
that as soon as possible as well. Are there any questions regarding the process of the executive sessions one more time? Okay, Mr. Strickland.
I had a question for you, Theresia.
Yes, sir.
How does it bring in money? Is it from people from the community coming in, or is it people?
Well, we usually have donations as well, but the bulk of it will be from the ticket sales.
Okay.
The profit that we get, minusing all the costs of the event, that is how much we will get that will go into the fund.
I was just.
It's just that, that's why if we do not get a less amount, then we'll have to take that amount off from, you know, how much we spend on the dinner. So, I mean, how much we get for the fund, so we'll have less fund. So I just hope the Senate will give us as much.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else? All right. Mr. Secretary, I would now ask that you entertain a motion from the floor, followed by a second, to entertain a vote for this to go straight to executive session, with that being yea, nay, and abstentions.
All right, take a motion to move this issue up to the executive session.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of moving this issue to the executive session, raise your hand.
Abstention from,
Any nays? No abstentions? No, there's 3. All right,
all right,
decided to go up to the executive session.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll also have an answer for you by the end of the day. Anything else, Mr. President?
That's all.
Thank you. I will go straight, let's go straight into exec board announcement. Never mind, I lied. I guess we have to get out gifts today. Thank you. So I'll sit back here.
That's why I was late.
Yeah, that's all right. I got your text. Excuse me. Don't get, that's not my very good side, Jason. You can't do that.
I was trying to do you, right?
Well, you know, I am very proud of the Senate, of all the hard work that we've done. First, I want to give kudos and thanks and my appreciation to the executive board with the in the absence of the parliamentarian who came up with a wonderful chart, voting chart of how many members we need for a quorum. And they also have halves for those who are pregnant, because babies need votes too. But I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank all three of you. Amir, I've never probably said this before to you, but I know I said it to quite a few many people, that you have a very quiet strength about you. You don't have to say very much to get the job done or to get your point across. And I admire that about you, and I think everybody else admires that about you on the executive board, because if ever all of us had that, we'd probably get through meetings much quicker than us lunatics up here that talk quite a bit. So I thank you for your service and all that you do. You probably have one of the toughest jobs out of all of us, and probably the most scrutinizing job out of all of us, and I really know how much it takes out of you, and I really thank you for that. So I look forward to continuing to do great things. And this joker here, Vice President, he came in spring semester last year as a senator, and probably one of the newbies on the block. He was one of the nicest ones on the block, and he was wet behind the ears, and he didn't know how to be mean like the rest of his older senators. But one thing that I do admire about Vice President is that he has a calmness about him that no one else can possess through it all. I mean, we could be in an earthquake right now, or tornadoes popping through with Toto in the mix of it and cows, and John would just be calm. He wouldn't say anything, and he would reassure everyone of his calmness and his stability, and I really admire that in him. And I know that if anything ever happened to me, saying I was shot or thrown out or hung or taken to the guillotine or whatever people may decide to do, I know that John would make an exceptional president. I know that he is an exceptional leader as vice president, and I appreciate you and all the great things that you do with Interclub and with the scholarship committees that you're also sitting on for student affairs. And I really want to commend you on the great job that you do as well, John, so I thank you. John and I both got A's on our Western Civ final today, so we're in pretty good mood. And then there's Jeremy, who was our newbie. After biting the dust, what was it, twice with two senators in one semester, in a matter of weeks. This chamber in the Senate had elected Jeremy our secretary, and you have come in and done, you know what, I will say this, I never thought that anybody could come in and take the place of William Bettis, who was our previous secretary from last year. William was always on top of things. He always had things out in a timely manner. He was always right there if we needed him. He would be on the phone day and night if anything was to ever come up. And I was very scared about all the secretaries that came after, because no one would be William. But you have stepped into those shoes and you have made them bigger than what they already were, and I greatly appreciate you. Your sarcasm is great, and I think you're probably the only one who can make fun of Arkansas and get away with it with me. But you have shown exceptional leadership throughout this year, and you have really changed as a leader and grown and developed into something much different than what any of us could probably expect. And I'm very proud of you for that, and I commend you as well, and I thank you for serving with me and making this happen for our school. I thank all three of you.
Thank you.
To you senators, I can say troublesome things about each and every one of you, but we don't have time for all of that. But I do commend all of you on your work, and I thank you all for being here and sticking with us through the ups and downs and the turnovers of this year. If I could just go back a little bit on my history, I'm not going to take too much time. I've been president, I think, 6 out of the last 8 years of my respective school class. And out of all those 6 years, I think this was probably the most invigorating year, the most productive year that I've had as a president, but probably one of the hardest years as well. I've learned more in this year as a president than I've ever learned before, because in the past couple of weeks I've seen that no matter what decision you make about the direction you want to take your school and take your constituency, no one's going to be 100% happy. My grandfather always compared it to a marriage. No one's ever happy in a marriage all the time, but they can be happy in a marriage some kind of like our marriage to the school. We've done a lot of great things. We will continue to do great things. I want to continue to grow in the things that we have to do. I want to show everyone that I'm very serious about the work that we do here at the school and what we want to accomplish and what we want to continue to do. I can assure you that none of us on this executive board ever ran for office feeling the need for a power struggle, or feeling the need to have a scholarship, or to feel the need of having a position that will look good on a resume. We ran because we genuinely care, love, and cherish the school with everything within us. I know all the guys have told their stories, and I've told mine about how my parents met here, and if it had not been for the school, I wouldn't be born. But it's so much more than that. The stories of those who I've run into, the students who sit at the desk and at the tables in the cafeteria with their heads down because they're so blatantly tired of all the work that they're doing and trying to break through that glass ceiling of making a difference in their lives. I remember one student, Chelsea, who had told me that she had taken 16 credit hours. 16 credit hours and had 2 jobs, and on top of that, she was a single mother. Her parents never went to college. Her parents were looking for jobs all of their life. And they were in and out of homes and not necessarily dealing with the things that we had all dealt with in our life. But yet she's doing all the things that she wants to do, and she's accomplishing them better than what she probably ever imagined with the grades that she's making, the strides that she's making, and the future that she's showing her daughter that she can make as well. We're also there for the students that come from out of state and that are cut off, financially, or some situations happen with their parents. And they still have to be claimed for on their parents in order to get financial aid, even though their parents aren't helping them at all. The students who are sleeping in their cars, the students who don't know where they're going to get their next tuition check from, the students who don't know how they're going to make up for a grade because a mistake was made in a class. Students who feel as if they don't have a family, but yet we can provide them with that second home environment. That's why we're doing the work that we're doing. That's why we want to continue to do great things. There is no piece of work or legislation that will come through this chamber, let me say this clearly, that is meant to hurt or harm any club or organization or anybody on this campus whatsoever. It's never been ill-intended at all. We will never make it that way. But we are always putting ourselves first in order to make sure that we ensure a lasting legacy for the future Cavaliers that will serve in your positions, serve in our positions, and better yet, serve in the same positions that these students out there are working to fight to break that glass ceiling to achieve. Leadership is not easy. It is hard. And the higher you get, what is it that they say? The lonelier it is at the top. We all understand that. You understand that. But a leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people not necessarily where they want to go, but where they ought to be. As president, as a Cavalier, and as a student, and as a person, I would not want to do anything else but take this school where it ought to be, not where it wants to be. And that's why we've got to stay on focus, we've got to stay on track, and I need you all to go home and rest and do whatever you need to do to come back, to be fired up and ready to go for the next semester. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. When I come back, and I want to have an executive board meeting where we start discussing a welcome back tour, where we go to each and every club and organization together, and we start talking about their issues and their problems to help them out. So not only are we bringing them to our town hall, but we're going to them as well to reach out to those who can't come. I also want to make sure that we, continue to reach out to our community as a whole. There is no student senate previous than us who has done more work in the community and done more work, groundbreaking, progressive work in the school before us. We have been one of the most active since the school's been open. And I want to keep that going. Trust your leadership. We're here for a reason. You may not like everything that we do, and we understand that, because we don't like everything that we do. But understand that we would never do it to harm or hurt the school or put it in a bad place. If we have your trust, you have our trust. We can't do it without you. We can't do it without the clubs and organizations. We need you. So if you stay on our side, we're right there on your side. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Teresa, we miss you a great deal. I wish you could stay. I really do. And I understand that not everybody's going to come back and not everybody's going to want to stay, and that's all right. What I want you to all know is that you always have a home here in the Senate, no matter what. We're here, we're open for you. So let's continue to serve this school with dignity, with grace, and with honor. And together we'll continue to make this school a better place for lasting generations. I thank you for the opportunity to serve as your president. It is an honor. It keeps me humble each and every day. And it just continues to show me each and every day of how much we have to do to make this place better. So, with that said, there's a gift that I want to pass over to Alicia for all your hard work on Photos with Santa, which was a fantastic, fantastic event. And you worked very hard last year, and I know that there were a lot of tears and a lot of frustration, a lot of stress, and probably some gray hair that we don't know about just yet that came out of this event. But you did an excellent job. And I commend you on the work that you did. No matter how hard it was, you got through it. And this is an appreciation from the executive board and from Mindy. And we appreciate you and we love you very much. And we thank you for all your service as well. So, with that said, there's no more announcements from the executive board.
I just want to throw something real quick, kind of add on what you were saying.
Please, Mr. Secretary.
I've noticed with everybody here, everybody working, that through these different service projects and these different things that we've done, I've actually seen this Senate come together from the time I first started, actually come together and start gelling together as an actual team. And that, I honestly haven't seen anything like that since I was in the Air Force. So to me, that really makes me happy and proud to be here and helping with you guys in any way that I can, because I see the way that everybody is a team player and that everybody works together to accomplish the goals that we have. And that is a quality that is not often seen in a lot of people, especially a lot of younger people and people who haven't gone through a lot of the different experiences. But to see everybody working together and doing what we need to do, it's great. I really like that. And I want to commend you guys on your teamwork ability, because that speaks volumes of your character, and appreciate it. So thank you.
Secretary. Oh, this joker. This vice president.
And of course, we wouldn't be here without one of our great leaders that we have on the
Amir.
board, Corey Paris. I know he's a dear friend to me and a lot of you as well, and he's always communicating with people. That's kind of like your main trait, is really spreading charisma and just trying to get to know people. And I think it helps with your leadership style to be able to build from that and really push us along the way. And I want to commend you for all the great things that you've been doing for the Senate and for your school.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. I can't kick you off of Facebook like I wanted to. So, usually we have a Christmas party, or a holiday party. This year we're not going to do that, as this year what's going on in our household is that we're not giving gifts to each other, but giving gifts to others. And I would strongly recommend that for everyone else as well. White Elephant's great, and Secret Santa's great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like after doing the TLC tree, it is incredibly important that we continue to serve others throughout this holiday season, those who are less fortunate than we are. My grandmother always tells me, goes back to the biblical verse of, I was hungry and you gave me food, I was naked and you clothed me, I was thirsty and you quenched my thirst, I was lonely and you were my friend or my comforter. And I feel like in this season, that's the only thing we can do, is to continue to have faith and do that very same thing that called us in that verse to those who who live in this community and don't necessarily have as much as we do. So, with that said, if you can, all of you get together, put some money together. Does not matter how much it is, but whatever you can give, and donate those last remaining student, or adopt those last remaining students on the TLC tree, because I think that would be awesome. And of course, we couldn't, two more people I have to acknowledge really quickly before I let you out. First is Mindy, who, ladies and gentlemen, has come into a circus. We had lost our minds basically over the summer because we didn't have an advisor, and we didn't know what we were going to do without her, without one filled immediately. But Mindy has come in and has befriended each and every one of us, and with her very sarcastic but yet humble soul as she is, she always likes to keep us in check, and I think that's something that we definitely need from an advisor to an e-board full of men who think that they're better than God himself at times. But I know through anything I can go to Mindy in confidence, knowing that she will give me the best advice that anyone could possibly give. Not because she wants that to happen for me or because that's what I want, but because it's the right thing to do. And that's very hard to come by in people nowadays, for them to tell you the right thing to do. So ladies and gentlemen, you have great people around you, great leadership and abilities around you. And I think that we need to start initiating them and using them much more. And we're going to put you all to work way much more the next semester than you were this semester. But Mindy, I commend you and I thank you for all your hard work for us. We hope that you like us enough to come back next semester at least, unless you have other plans. And we love you very much. So, thank you. I know that you probably won't be able to videotape this guy, but Andrew has done a heck of a job capturing each and every one of us. Really, I think that Andrew deserves a huge applause because he's here faithfully every week. He does not gripe, moan, or complain. He does not make fun of us of all the hard work, of all the work and things that we talk about in here. He just goes with the flow, which is what I love. And he's very faithful and loyal to us, and I really appreciate Andrew. And so anything that we can do to keep Andrew around. Are you coming back next semester for us?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay, good. So anything we can do to keep Andrew around would be great. But we want to thank you, Andrew, for all the hard work. If John had his 10-pixel megapixel camera, he could have taken a picture of you, and then we could have inserted that into the meeting. If there's nothing else, Mr. Treasurer.
I felt kind of bad. I didn't say anything, so. Okay, Mindy. Well, I had a lot of fun this year. I mean, yeah, it might be a lot of hard work, but they're just putting in just as much work as I am. They're here working every day, and they're a great group of people to work with. So is Mindy. And even if we have to come here at 8 a.m., Mindy still brings us breakfast. And it's worth it. And all the events that we held together this year and everyone working together, I just really like being around you guys. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy the events that we do, and I'm really looking forward towards the spring semester. And we're going to miss you, Teresa.
Yeah, we are. Mama?
I'm not going to be sarcastic. No, I know that this year was a learning experience for each and every single one of us. And I want to take the time to really thank you guys for all of your hard work. Especially you new guys, Jacob and Kevin. I mean, you guys, you weren't even voted in and you were up in the CSI helping put together flyers and stuff. I mean, you guys have really stepped in and have just done a tremendous job. And then for the rest of you, we came together as a group and we've put off some great programs this year that have helped other people. We had our Halloween service project, which helped, you know, kids have a Halloween in a safe environment. And then Photos with Santa, and I'm not just saying this, everyone has told me that it was the best that it has ever been. So, and that's not me blowing my own horn, that's me thanking each and every one of you guys for coming out, helping us decorate that room. That was the craziest 4 hours. But also for helping staff the event and just helping encourage people to come out. We had our highest attendance ever, and it just, everything about it was wonderful. And next year we're ordering more food, but you know, that's a good thing. So thank you guys all for everything that you have done this semester, and I look forward to another great semester.
Well, I know I have a final videotape, one more today, and I know probably all of you have a to service to honor and serve those who are less fortunate than we are in this holiday season. I also ask everyone else who's watching in the student body to do the very same. Call to service is what we're going to call that for this summer, for this winter break. But if there's nothing else from any of you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I know Mindy already said it, but I really do appreciate all the help and support. And Gina, you helped me a lot, and Rebecca and Teresa, well, all of you did. I don't think I will ever forget moving that stupid stove all the way across the campus. But I really do appreciate everybody's help and look forward to next semester.
Wonderful. If there's nothing else, I'd like to entertain a motion to
Eat cookies.
Motion to
eat cookies. We have a motion to eat cookies. Second. Wonderful. Happy holidays, everyone. Enjoy yourselves. Can't wait to have you back. Next.